What is up, everybody? What is up, Pop Culture Philosophers Army? What is up? Why did I say Pop Culture Philosophers Army instead of PCP Army? Oh my goodness. How's everybody doing? Station, welcome. I am Rockin Robbie Billups here at Pop Culture Philosophers. Tonight, it's time for our monthly live show of some of the greatest minds in comics YouTube coming together to discuss our favorite comic books of the month, January 2021. And we may touch a little bit on December because we kind of missed it, but holidays. I don't even remember what I read in December. Did comics come out that month? Anyway, with me tonight to chat about comic books, we have Bueller from Comics with Bueller. What's up, Station, my man?
I was just on your show the other day. What the hell's going on?
I know.
Are we eating chalupas? Where's your pancake chalupa?
Bruh, like I showed people at work, I was like, look at this bullshit. Look at Bueller's chalupa versus mine, right? Yeah. And everybody was like, we got to go to Oregon's Taco Bell's.
Yeah, I've heard from a few people that there was definitely something wrong with your chalupa.
Bro, that's Alabama Taco Bell for you. Speaking of Alabama Taco Bell, it's Dylan from Dylan's Comics. Just kidding, it's Bob from Everything Comics. Station.
How you doing, y'all? Good to be here. Didn't know if I would be, and so I'm very, very grateful that you've got me on the show and that I can be here. And looking forward to tonight, man.
Yeah, very much. This is one of my favorite shows to do each and every single month. And also with us, we have nobody else because Dylan's going to be 20 minutes late because apparently we're on Dylan's time and not on y'all's time. So
that's great.
Hey, man, I just want to be honest about you. The other day, Robbie, looked like something you get out of the Halloween store, like for a costume.
Yeah, it's like this. That was a legitimate Taco Bell chalupa, and it's like blew my mind. Our Taco Bells are the worst. Okay, like they do that trick where they're like, oh yeah, will you pull up to the front of the store and we'll bring your food out whenever? I'm like, no, because I know how this works. I know that you're timed. Like I know what you're doing. If you put me out in the front, then you don't care about me anymore. Right. And I'm like, they do that kind of stuff all the time. They'll be like, oh, we're out of meat. And I'm like, really? And then I knew people that worked at Taco Bell. They're like, yeah, we just say that when we've cleaned something and we don't want to, I'm like, whatever. Dude, I want to have a real chalupa. Like there's a visual difference anyway. Tonight is about.
Bob had a chalupa tonight.
I did, but Robbie, I promise you, when you come out to Portland finally and come out and hang with us, we're going to get you a Stumptown. We're going to sit you down with a real chalupa, bro.
I know, right? I'm going to go all the thousands of miles just to try a real Taco Bell that actually puts some pride in their work.
There you go.
I don't know. All right. So here we are to chat with you about comic books. There will be spoilers in this show. We will straight up spoil stuff. So if you haven't been reading and we start hitting a book that you haven't been caught up on, best just to go along with it. Who cares? You're going to forget it by tomorrow anyway. Bueller, you said you read like 30 plus books this month.
I did.
Out of everything you read, what would you say is Bueller's pick of the month?
Pick of the month, that's number one. That's easy.
I agree.
I was just actually thinking about that just a second ago. What was the best book that I read? And I got it sitting here somewhere. Let's see here. I thought I did. Got all the books I read sitting in front of me, and here I can't even find it.
And you can't find the one that you wanted to start with.
Here it is right there. Oh,
I love that cover, but I'm such a committed cover A guy.
Look, we got all the covers right there.
Look at all the money that Bullseye Bob has down. He's just showing it off, man.
That was like $150 cover right there. But awesome. This book, this is by the W. Maxwell Prince, who does The Ice Cream Man, which is also one of our favorite books that we've talked about many a times. The story in here, what can I say? I mean, it's this is the Joker origin story that could honestly be a Joker origin story if it wanted to be. That's kind of the devastation that this character is introduced to. In this story, he's a clown. He's a dedicated clown. He's got a family. He's got kids. And basically he goes to work and he is laid off, and his family doesn't think anything of him. His wife is just, on his back all the time and stuff, not in a good way either. Yeah. And, but
not a piggyback ride.
Exactly. So he literally gets fired from his job. He's got nothing going on. His best friend mugs him in the parking lot for his final paycheck. But he hides it in his sock so he doesn't get it. So then he goes to a bank and the bank gets robbed as he's there, still dressed up as a clown. And then he gets shot in the head, like right through the brain. and somehow he survives, and it kind of turns him into a I don't know if I wanted to use the word like a superhero or whatnot, but most people don't survive getting shot through the brain. But he does. He gets back up and he takes out all the armed robbers and stuff, and he goes home, and his wife and family look like balloon animals and stuff like that. And that's it. That's the end of the story, and that's the last we'll hear. This is a one-shot. This is a one and done. Issue 2 is a separate story with a different character. That's the only thing I didn't like about this. It was this fact that there isn't more to this character. Because, man, I would love to see a number 2 or whatever, a 5-issue series about this guy himself. So that's the only thing that was disappointing. But by far, this is my pick of the month.
Yeah, it's my pick of the month as well. I loved it. It's such a weird book, and it's such an interesting take on the idea of positive thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude, like, he's literally having the worst day anybody can have, and he's just like, oh, no, it'll be okay. You just got to keep on trucking, right? And, like...
it just gets worse.
It just keeps getting worse. And I have this interesting theory where, like, I'm not even sure if I believe that the last half of this book really happened. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's all just in his head. Because either the dude did survive a bullet straight through the brain, and they do take the time to show you that it went through and didn't necessarily damage anything. And we've seen this in history where people get nails through their head and they live, right?
But how they drew that, I mean, just the way they drew the bullet, and there was like 3 different panels, like entering the skull, going through the brain, and coming out. I thought that was really, and everything that kind of jumped from like the little happy faces and the stars. It was just so bizarre and perfect for what the story is.
The
He couldn't have done that without a clown.
Oh, yeah, right? And, you know, I think when this book first came out, we were all like, ooh, clowns. A clown anthology by the Ice Cream Man guy. This is going to be creepy clowns. And this is a sad clown. And it did make me feel straight up like this is the day that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was having. You know? Yeah. But there's a piece of me that thinks that he died. And the rest of it was all in his head. But at the same time, I love that quirky ending where he's just like, you all look like balloons.
Yeah, I think I was telling you, like, when he went home, his neighbor, which is his best friend who mugged him, is like out in the front yard playing with his family, like waving at him, hey, nice to have you back. And he just mugged him like earlier that day.
No kidding. Eric Durrance with the super chat. Thank you. He says, couple bucks to get Robbie a real chalupa.
There you go, man.
A chalupa's more than $2. I'm just going to say that. It's like 3 something, but it's okay. Bob, what do you think of Ha Ha?
It's also my pick of the month, hands down. I really enjoyed it. I think if there was any commentary on how to get through 2020, that book was it. I love his positive outlook through the whole book. You know, for this particular book, when they first solicited it, it was one of those things where I got really excited about it because most of you don't know this, but my wife is a professional clown. And she hates like all the different stuff that they bring out because most of it is horror, of course, and that's not what she does. She entertains kids. So when I started telling her I was getting all excited about it, the first thing she did was bury her face in her hand. She's like, "Here we go." But I really enjoyed the story. I thought the writing was, I mean, you can't beat Prince's writing. I'm with Bueller. I would have loved to have saw a continuation of the story because I really just love the character. And maybe later on down the road, he might continue it. Who knows? But I'm really just right off the get-go when it comes to this particular title, I'm so excited for issue 2. Can't wait to see where they go with it next. And my only lament already is that it's going to be a limited series and not ongoing like Ice Cream Man. So. Yeah.
Just 6 issues and, of course, 6 different stories and 6 different artists as well. Vanessa Del Rey did the art in this. It's really scratchy and raw and gritty, and I think it works so well. It's chilling, but like I think it did such a weird thing because the artwork felt like the book would be grimy and dirty, and everything that happens to this dude, he's literally in like some kind of really terrible, trashy Scorsese film from like the early days, right? But his outlook is not like that, you know, and I just thought it was fantastic. We had Gabriel Walta, I think, doing the next issue, and that's the artist on Vision and Sentient. So I'm really, really pumped for that. And it would be cool if maybe as the issues progress, like you see the dude in the background, maybe like with his family or something, you see that maybe he's doing right, but he still has a bandage on his head or something like that.
Or just one of those balloons in the panel going across.
You all look like balloons. Like, and he just rolls with it, man.
Yeah. Bob, do you think that your wife would read this book?
I put it on her desk because I have another copy of it as well.
Yeah.
And she hasn't read it yet, but whenever I give her something to read, she's usually a pretty good sport and will read it. And I told her I wanted her to try it out because it wasn't just straight up horror.
Yeah.
It's actually got some substance to the story. So she'll read it here, pretty soon. I'll let you guys know.
I'd be curious to hear what she said.
For sure.
Dude, that's a whole video series. Ha ha, read by a clown.
That's pretty good.
In full clown makeup.
I was actually going to do a show with my wife in introducing her to comics, but I've seen some other ladies get on some other shows and trash talking and things like that happen. And I don't want to subject her to that type of stuff. So we just didn't do it.
No, that's unfortunate. Zombie X Dance, by the way, has a really cool idea. Hopefully they make a volume 2. Ha ha ha.
There you go.
Yeah, just keep adding another ha to it. Speaking of adding more ha's to it, Bob, it's weird. We all have the same pick of the month. That's wild. So everybody, either it was a weak month or this book's really damn good.
It was really good.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. What about you, Bob? What's another book that you'd like to highlight for the month?
It's kind of, like I said, I didn't get to read much this month so far. Some of the future state stuff I've been really liking. I really liked the Nightwing issue last week, and I really liked the Dark Detective. With Dan Mora doing the artwork in that book. But really, there hasn't been a lot of books that stood out to me above the others. It's kind of 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. I really enjoyed reading Something is Killing the Children this morning. This is not the right one. This is number 13. But issue number 14 of Something is Killing the Children, I really loved how they started to build out more of the world of the House of Slaughter and Erica's background. I think we got more of that inside of this book than in any other book. So I really enjoyed Something is Killing the Children. And then I'll stop there because you guys may want to comment on those as well. But out of the books that I read, Ha was the one that stood out, and then all the rest, I could just pick one of them and be it.
Yeah, right. I got a question then about the Something is Killing the Children, because one of the things I noticed, and you're a big color guy, is did you notice how they started using warmer tones when they were introducing the idea of the imagination and whatnot? And they never do that, right? And then immediately when she goes to have that fight, which was so badass, it goes right back to that cool palette with the striking reds. Do you think there's a significance in the story and how it relates to? It's almost like as if they were getting to the idea that children's imaginations is kind of what brought these into existence, almost in a way.
Yeah, I think that's there. I also think that as we delve more into the world of House of Slaughter and how that whole world is built out, and notice when we went back to the actual place where they're stationed, the color palette was different there as well. And so I really think that as we get more into the story outside of the monsters, you're going to find more of what you're talking about. And I think there's a huge correlation there. That creature, whatever that thing is that comes out of the octo thing, it kind of blew me away. But really tying into, having the kids remember the first time that they even saw the creature, and it wasn't in physical manifestation, it was in their minds. Yeah. And so I think you're absolutely correct on that.
Yeah, and almost as if it's trying to correlate to the warmth that Erica's actually showing to these kids.
Absolutely. Great stuff. I mean, like I said, I think this book, more than any of the other issues that we've gotten so far, have started to kind of break the egg on the world that we're going to be living in going forward, and I'm excited for it.
And I think they're setting up who the real villains are, which is the House of Slaughter.
Absolutely. Bueller had a pretty interesting take on it. We talked about it this morning. Why don't you talk about that, buddy?
Yeah, we filmed the coffee video this morning just a few hours ago, and one of the books was this one because Bob did a review on it. I love the book. Don't get me wrong; it's one of my favorites. But I kind of feel as though here we are, 14 issues in, and not really a lot has taken place from the first issue. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff, but really, as far as what point she's at in the story, she's still with the kids that she met in the first issue. She's still trying to kill the zombies and save the same town. And here we are 14 issues into the story itself. So literally a year and a half into the story because of the break during the middle of last year. But that movement of story is kind of starting to bother me a little bit, because my theory would be, okay, yeah, we're learning more about the backstory and more about her, more about the House of Slaughter and all that stuff. But they could do that at the same time with just moving this story along and having her go to another town as well, or finish up with this town, get called to another event that's going on, and she has to go take care of that and introduce other characters or something new. I mean, she's literally in the same exact spot she is in issue 1, with the kids still having to kill the monsters, and she's still sitting at point A in the same scenario she was, and that's starting. It's getting very repetitive on this book, and I'm like, as much as I like it, it's like, okay, let's move to a different scenery. We can still tell a backstory in different scenery. So I'm hoping that they do that and wrap it up. Wrap up the city and the storyline here, and go to something else, and still elaborate on the backstory of the House of Slaughter and her and all that stuff, with new characters, new things going on, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually rather shocked that they're still in this town, kind of on the same case. And they have added a lot to it and revealed a lot. And I really feel, because I could tell that I think this book was written to be like a 5-issue series, right? And then it was really, really popular. And I think that Tynion had a plan on what to do with the House of Slaughter, but I don't know if he did have so much of a plan on what to do with the actual narrative of the story, moving it forward, because it's all taking place in the same town. And maybe that's the whole gist, and maybe this is like a 20 to 30 issue series, and then it will all wrap up, because they're bringing all that House of Slaughter but then there's, with the House of Slaughter, there's the promise of other houses, right? So maybe we'll go out, because we were talking about this Wednesday night, like, how long does he want this book to go? If he wants this book to go like 60 plus issues, then we're still very early, you know, and they could wrap up everything in this town, because I still think he's forming the core group that will travel from town to town, because it will be Erica, and it will be James, and it will be the little girl, and probably the dude who lost his daughter, whose mom's kind of having a trouble time dealing with it, right?
Yeah, I think they could have wrapped up this story arc in 5 issues, and then moved to a different story arc, with those characters and stuff, and then still kept on elaborating on the House of Slaughter, more backstory, more stuff like that. It doesn't all necessarily have to be in this one town, because literally 14 issues, that's probably about how many days it's been since she's been there. Like, she's only been there like a week or something like that, so 14 issues a book, as far as in real time, as far as in the book itself, it's only been just a few days. So, let's just go ahead and compare it to Red Mother. Obviously, they're both by the same publisher, both kind of a slow burn. If you don't mind, I'll just jump over the Red Mother right now. That came to an end, okay? That one was kind of slow at times, but it did progress the story a little bit. I mean, there wasn't like, in point A wasn't still a thing on the last issue as it was in the first issue, to where point A is still the main thing, from the first issue of Assembling Skilled and Children to issue 14, it's still the same scenario, to where Red Mother wrapped it up and kind of elaborated more. You learn more. I was happy to see that series come to an end, because I think it was the type of series that needed an ending to wrap up the story, as opposed to just ongoing and stuff like that. That's also another one of my picks. I know that's one of yours, Robbie. So if you want to talk about that one.
Yeah, real quick on Something Is Killing the Children is he's doing them in 5-issue arcs, right? And so that means that there's one more issue left in this arc. And with the way that this ended, it seems like Erica's about to clean house in this town. And I feel like if they move on, it's going to be like issue 16, arc 4, leaving the first 3 arcs to deal with this one town. And so that's 15 issues for 3 arcs. And if you have 3 acts of 3 arcs, so 3 within 3, the way that if it's structured this way, it's got a great pace to go to like 45 to 50 issues, right? So, and Fable even said there that the next issue has Erica on the cover leaving that town.
Yeah. So, yeah. And let's just be honest. I don't think James Tynion or Boom Studios was expecting it to go beyond that first arc. It was insanely more popular than they thought that it was going to be, and it's just continued to go, which, I mean, I'm all for. But, his storytelling on that particular piece, I think, had to preempt, other things for him to keep going on it. And but again, I think you're right. Next arc, we're going to see a whole lot more of this expand.
Well, before it came out, Gideon said this was an ongoing series. It wasn't a limited series. This is before issue 1 even hit. He's like, yes, this is going to be an ongoing series from Boom Studios about this character. And so he wasn't going to wrap it up within 5. Now, when you talk about the story arcs being in 5 issues,
well, he would have wrapped it up in 5 if Boom told him we can't publish it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so
yeah,
I think he wrote it to wrap up in 5 issues.
Yeah.
And if you think that maybe I may only get 5 issues, you put as much as you want in that. You put as much as you can in that first arc.
Yeah.
And now he has the space to kind of let it tread out just a little bit more. I don't know.
That's probably standard.
Yeah, I mean, Once and Future is another one. Like that could have just been a 6-issue series, and they could have wrapped that up just fine. But
yeah, that's another one that we will need to talk about. But let's talk about Red Mother.
Yeah, but Red Mother, I freaking love this. It got a lot of flack for being a slow burn, and I started picking up, once again, structured things. Like if they're doing this in every 4 issues, I feel like this is going to be 12, and so it did feel slow at times. But what it was doing to me is it was letting. I think that this is one of the tightest structured comic books that we've had in years. Like, I don't feel a single thing in any page of any issue of Red Mother was wasted, all the way through to the end. And the exciting thing to me about the end is it leads to the possibility of 3 more series. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the Red Mother is 1 of 4. And I really like that idea. I think that Jeremy Hahn did such a great job of dealing with this woman's trauma and making that the core concept, but still having it be entertaining, exciting. I get major Clive Barker, Hellraiser type vibes from here. When we get to this stuff, like, oh my freaking goodness. And the artwork has always been beautiful. And one of my favorite panels in the entire run is when she rips the eye out right there. Just the motion, the dynamicness of that panel. I freaking loved it. It had a quick ending, but when I went back and reread it and let it sink in, this is one, y'all, I cannot wait to read all 12 in one. And you can probably do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing about that book. It's not very wordy. And I think it is a better read if you read it all together at once, to be honest, than to wait month after month for it. This is a series that if you have all 12 issues or if you have the trade paperback with the whole thing, just read the whole thing. It won't take you long. And I was going to ask you guys, do you think that when she's referring to the others, like the other 3, is that like a reference to the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse or something like that? That's kind of what I got.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's true going forward, but that did have that feel to it, from what I've heard. Yeah. So let me just do my little rant here for a second. I did not get the last issue of the Red Mother.
You didn't get it? They were sold out, or you didn't get it?
No. They weren't sold. I got shorted.
Oh, I got you.
And this is an ongoing problem that I've had with my LCS. There's a lot of books that I have on order, a lot of books that I've gotten shorted on. When I asked them to show me my pull list, they had stuff that I had basically emailed them and told them to put on there that wasn't on there. And it just kept recurring. And this last month was probably worse than it's ever been. Case in point, Knights of the Old Republic, the comic book that came out, I ordered 3 of the covers of that particular comic book. I was excited about it. I walk in on Thursday because I couldn't go in on Wednesday. There's none in my box. But then I hear from my buddy Bueller that they had a ton on the shelf. People were walking in and just grabbing them off. And they told me, we don't have them. So why weren't any put in my box? Right. And just things like that kept happening. I can answer this for you, Bob. What's that?
They just didn't like you.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I've never had a problem. I get all my books. I get.
But you don't. I mean, your pull list is minimal compared to mine.
Whatever, Bob.
Let's just be honest.
I give them chocolate. There
you go.
I get all my books.
But bottom line is that with the recurring problems that I've had, I finally had, that was the last straw. I told them to close my box, and I ended up going to another LCS that has a little less reputation. I kind of left there before because of the reputation, but at least I never got shorted on my books there. And, for somebody who does reviews, I mean, I need my books. So I've had a change of LCS. So truth be told, I never got to read the last issue of Red Mother.
That sucks. Diamond, it was still available at Diamond. Like last week, I ordered more for other people that missed it. So
yeah, no, I have it on order. I'll get it, but I just haven't read it yet.
Hey, Bob, real quick, what did they say when you closed your box?
Actually, the owner of the store reached out to me and wanted to know why. And I showed him a series of emails where I had let them know what to add and take off of my pull list. I definitely, and then also acknowledgments of those particular emails. And then I showed him the actual pull list that was given to me in the last week. And you can see where nothing was changed. Yeah. And the excuses that I kept getting. So I gave him a pretty detailed understanding of what happened. He thanked me. He hoped that, he said, I hope, at some point you can come back. I said, look, I've never had a problem with your store. I love the people that work there, especially Steve. Of course, he's not there anymore.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, man. Steve was so good.
Absolutely. And it's not that, I have any bad feelings. I can't afford not to get my books. And, so I told him, I said, no hard feelings, but if you guys can't handle my pull list, I got to go somewhere else. So.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And Bob probably cost some Portland stoner their job.
Don't say that, man.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you, man. Unfortunately, sometimes things fall through the cracks. It happens at our shop too. Like somebody will send an email, and we have so many people and so many different ways that people can get a hold of us. But like that really sucks that it was a continuous problem, because once we notice that we missed something, we try to like focus, and it's like it sucks to lose a customer for something like that, especially when it's not actually Diamond's fault.
Right. And we even had an example where they did that. They noticed a problem, and Steve actually took care of me. He gave me that Ice Cream Man foil edition to make up for the Daredevil book that they missed out on for me. And so they did, notice an issue, but Steve was gone, and that's all I'm going to say. But I think it was really cool that the owner actually reached out to me, of the chain reached out to me and had a conversation with me. And we're on good terms. Maybe I'll come back at some point, but at this point,
Well, it's always wise to split your pull list amongst many shops if you have them, in case you need to go, and you always have a discount ready at many shops, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There you go.
But if there's anything, Bob, that you miss, like just let me know as soon as you can, bro. I can usually help you out. In fact, speaking of High Republic, Dylan, you got a High Republic in your box, man. When are you going to pick that up? Because I'm about to change the price. What's up, Dylan? Thank you for being here, man.
What's up, bro?
We talked already about Ha, Something is Killing the Children, and Red Mother. Do you like those? That was, by the way, Ha was mine and Bueller and Bob's pick of the month.
Yeah, mine too.
Hi, Dylan.
What's up, Bueller?
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Sorry I was late. I had
That's all right. I'm used to it.
Yeah. I was really behind on a lot of books, man, but I got some stuff read. So, but yeah, Ha was the best, bro. I'm hyped for that, bro.
I can tell.
He's good.
This dude's been up all night watching Stuart Gordon movies. Cut him some slack. Give him a break, Bueller. In the words of Bueller, give him a break.
Come on, man. Give me a break.
I didn't even know we were doing it for real. Like Robbie just told me like yesterday, and I was like, dude, I totally forgot. I thought we were doing it next month. So I thought, no, we couldn't get together or something.
We haven't done it for like 2 months.
I know. That's what I asked Robbie. I was like, yo, bro, are we still doing that?
All right, Dylan, let me just break this down for everybody and everybody out there in the chat, because I saw Bruce in here being like, I didn't get a notification, didn't know. This was kind of fly by night. Once again, we kind of pieced it together randomly, really quickly. But once the last Wednesday of the month happens, be on the lookout, because that's when the show will hit, right? It just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce. Ha was the sweep this month for the panel. Loved that book.
We love clowns.
We love clowns, and we love balloon animals. You all look like balloons.
You should have like 2 of them Ha-Has for me too.
Yeah, bro, I'm about to change the price on them, so you better pick them up. This book's hot. And by the way, I keep hearing all these people. They're like, "Oh, I bought a haha for like $15, or whatever." Man, we still have copies of haha. Like we were like, "Hell yeah, we're going to order the hell out of this." Ice Cream Man continuously outsells the previous issues.
Exactly.
Like, why not like go all in on haha, especially when it's returnable?
I still think people slept on it. Like, even though they knew about Ice Cream Man, they were just like, they still slept on it. But then once they seen there was, that it was raising, they're like, I gotta get it now. Too late. Though.
Yeah. It didn't help. I think that W. Maxwell Prince said, "Yeah, don't worry. Even Quibi went down, but Ice Cream Man, we're still getting that made somewhere." So then, you get the spec people are like, "Oh, this is the first appearance of haha."
I'm glad, bro.
And then they're like, "What? Each issue's a different." Like, there's a mime issue. I bet that's a silent issue. All right.
I think that's the next one too.
Here's a book that I would like to talk about, and it's "I Breathed a Body," #1, by Zach Thompson, Andy McDonald, Triona Farrell, Hassan Onsman El Howe, and of course, I can't do it without the awesome stretch of showing the Brett Hess cover.
Dude, I was wondering what that was, bro, because I wanted that.
Bruh, this cover is beautiful. So Brett Hess is a member of the PCP Army. He's been a fan of comics for most of his life. Look, and in it, dude, and this bag and board is really nice.
Wasn't it? From Hive? Yeah.
Yeah. And there's not a single lick of damage on here, man.
No.
I got his artwork too, bro. He's incredible. When I saw that, I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, the two books I got this week was that one and this one. I'm sending them both in.
I wish I would have got that. I saw it was an exclusive, and I knew I didn't, but I should have, because I would immediately sell that shit right now.
Absolutely.
Because now's the time to do it, right? Absolutely. But I Breathe the Body, I loved it. It's like it's described as Hellraiser meets The Social Network, right? Now I have read issue 2, so I know that issue 1 is not going to give you everything you need to know about where the story's going, but in issue 2, it gets freaking wild and dark, y'all. But it's basically about this dude. He's like the biggest influencer in this world. It's kind of like it's set in the future. There's like fungal horror going on. There's like he's like making meat, like there's some kind of weirdness going on. But the basic gist is how corporations use social media and social media influences to influence people. So you think that it's just this authentic person that you're into, right? And he's one of those in this book, like he's one of those guys that like will do like pranks, right? And then people get hurt, and then he's like, "Oh, it offends me that people would think that I did that on purpose," and blah blah blah. But there's a lot of craziness. So basically, what happens, and as I said, spoilers, but what happens is this dude whose dad runs the corporation, and he's the social media face. He's doing a live vlog, and then he just commits suicide, right? Now, live on air. And now the biggest moneymaker that this corporation has, which is this dude's son, which there's the hint that he was created by this guy, like not an actual child, but like grown or something like that, the way that he grows his fake meat. When it gets to what is the corporation going to do to salvage this, what they get into in the second issue, it is so like on y'all's video, the coffee video, y'all kept saying, because Bueller hadn't read it yet, and Bob's like, "I don't know how I feel about it," and he's like, "Was it gross?" He's like, "Yeah, it was gross." Bro, wait till you read issue 2. That is gross.
It's really gross.
It's super gross, man. Like more of this kind of stuff starts happening on issue 2. So I can't reveal it, or Zach will never send me an early look at anything ever again. But I loved it. It's got a gritty texture to the artwork that I thought was very appropriate. This character was completely unforgivable. And there's the moment right there. Like, Jesus. Anyway, and it gets wild. Anybody else read it?
I did. And like I said, I still don't know how to take that book. I realize I don't have all the information yet on where it's going, but there were some very surreal things that happened inside of the book. There's one page where there's a double page spread where this thing is happening, and then you have what's supposed to be happening now. And if you look at the graphics on the page, they mirror each other, but they're exactly. And I was like, what's that supposed to be about, and what are they trying to say in that particular moment? And so things like that were happening, and so well done to effect. And I enjoyed reading it. But again, when I got to the end, I'm like, what the hell did I just read? And so I'm really hoping that book 2 kind of shines a little more light on it. I mean, I got the gist of what was going on, but the understanding of where we're going and what is real and what's not kind of left me in a space where I didn't know how to take it. Other than that, I think that there's a visceral reaction to the book that I love from horror movies, that I got that feel from it. And so if you're looking for something that's going to give you, that feel like that, this is the book for you, because it will give it to you. But I'm excited for issue 2 to see where it goes.
Yeah, Zach Thompson's been doing this great thing lately where he's really exploring the relationship between humanity and technology and how that is going to grow into the future. He just recently finished up Lonely Receiver, which that is a very real, brutal, and honest take at about like a post-breakup, like the journey that someone goes through, right? And the way it ended, and that was another one of my favorite books this month, was the last issue of Lonely Receiver. But it's about this, it's basically a piece of technology it's basically, what if your cell phone became your soulmate? So it's a way to view your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people, but your relationship with technology, right? And that's what they're doing here, because now we're adding a new idea of the influencer, right? And what happens when, none of us here on Comics YouTube really do this, but like there are plenty of people with millions and millions of followers that say heinous things or inspire people to do terrible things. And what happens when something like this happens? Everything you read in the book was real, Bob, by the way. It is set somewhat in the future. I do believe that this kid was grown with this like fungus thing or whatever. And I think that's what they're showing right there. Like, I don't even know what's going on there yet.
Then they're like giving him blood from like that, like, I don't know, like that Reaper looking character or something.
Yeah, right. There's something crazy going on there. And he mentions that he didn't have a belly button, which you're like, oh, that's kind of like, okay, that's leading in, because if you're actually born and carried by someone, you have to have the belly button, right?
That's not
so
true.
Okay, it's probably not, but for the most part. But what happens in issue 2 though is that the book starts becoming about what they do to salvage all of this after the events of the end of that issue. So have you read it yet, Bueller?
No, my copy's coming. I'm getting the Brett Hess cover, and
Nice.
I think it might have showed up today. I have to go check, but if not, it'll probably be here on Monday.
Did you check it out yet, Dylan?
Yeah, I just read it actually, because I didn't read it last week, so I knew I wanted to read it before the show. I thought it was phenomenal. You actually got me really giddy for issue 2, bro. Like, because it really does have that Hellraiser vibe to it, where it's just kind of like you're like it just felt new and disgusting. But I like the vlogger guy. Like he reminds me of like a 6ix9ine character. It's like we really got crazy fucks like just making like somehow they do all this crazy shit online. And then they become famous, and they maybe become a rapper. It's like, or just stupid stuff. So I thought though, when he killed himself, I thought he was gonna like somehow regenerate or something, or he's gonna come back because he's like, I am a god, and then he'll like his face kind of transforms. So, but I don't know. Maybe he's just
it's weird because what he did, he's got this brooch, right, from his mother. So he stabs the brooch, because I had to look at it a couple times to see what happens. He stabs the brooch into his throat and twists it and pulls the flesh off of his face.
No
it was
way.
so awesome. We love stuff like that. And I know that there's a piece inside Bob that does, because when you told me that Lucio Fulci's Zombie was one of your favorite movies, I was like, what? I didn't expect that out of Bob.
Yeah, man.
So if you like Italian horror, man, I think you'll like issue 2. Issue 2 really gets.
Yeah, Bob, you're coming out we're gonna do some Italian horror, and you're coming, bro. You're hanging with Italian horror night.
I dig that.
The Argento cut of Dylan's
Italian horror, but I gotta tell you, I mean, those original zombie movies, I love that. I absolutely love it. So,
hell yeah! All right, well, Bueller, when you read it, I'm very excited to know what you think about it.
It's gonna be gross.
It is gross, but 2's grosser. 2's even more.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Bueller, anything? What else you want to talk about? Maybe we should. We've been on indies. Let's jump to the big 2.
All right, right here.
There you go.
I'm just going to kind of go on the first. So this came out the first week of the month. Swamp Thing. It's the only future state book that I'm getting, and I liked it. I thought it was great. You know, Swamp Thing is a really cool character, and what I say, Bob, they're just swamping around. That's kind of what they're doing in here. They're just around. They're doing their Swamp Thing. You know.
There's Swamp Thing.
Yeah, it's in the future, and like all humanity is gone. They at least they believe all humanity is gone. They're actually looking for humans and stuff like that, and they're they're talking like in deep thoughts and stuff like that with all the other swampy people and stuff, and they're just thinking about plants and stuff. And I don't know, I liked it. It was kind of a cool tone. They actually do run into some humans at the end and stuff like that. And it's only a 2-issue arc. It's one of the future state books. It's only 2 issues. So it'll be done here. Actually, the number 2 comes out on Wednesday. And that's it. And then Rom V, he takes over this Swamp Thing title for a regular series after March, I believe. And I don't know how many issues that is. But this is the only one. 10 issues?
10 issues and more if it sells well.
There you go. But this is the only future state book I was even interested in getting. And it was only $3.99. There's no backup story. It's all itself. So this is my pick for future state, and I'm a little biased, like I said. I didn't read any of the other ones.
It doesn't hurt that it's $3.99. It doesn't hurt that there's no backups. It doesn't hurt that it's Rom V.
Yeah.
By the way, I was speaking to Rom this morning. Rom's going to be joining us on the channel in early March, PCP Army. So get excited for that. Because in March he launches the ongoing Swamp Thing with the exact same creative team, Mike Perkins and everything, and they're
beautiful book.
A new character, new version of Swamp Thing, and it's a great book. I really like where he takes the future in the story, and a lot of people have been confused by the DC future state stuff. It all takes place in a possible future for DC, a possible future, right? Because what Death Metal did, and I saw a question out there, Death Metal did take place in continuity, but what it did was it kind of unraveled continuity, so that hyper time's a real thing, so that the present is solid, but the past and the future are in a state of flux, right? Just view it like that. Think of the quantum reality and think of the double slit experiment, but with DC continuity. Really, you don't have to think too hard about it. It's just every story is valid and equal on its own. Rom V doing Swamp Thing, I think that this is the start, and I think it started with the future state book. I think it's the start of the next big Swamp Thing run that we'll be talking about for years and years.
Hey, Robbie, I might need to get in on the Rom V interview if you don't mind.
I don't know.
Whatever, dude. Screw you. Screw you.
I'd be like, Bueller, what are you talking about, bruh? Nah, I'll need some extra help because me and Brian are going to be so just enamored with his hair. The best hair in comics history is on Rom V. If anybody's never seen a picture of Rom, we had his buddy Alex on the show, and one of the questions we asked him was, "What does Rom do for his hair?" Like, so it's literally he's going to be coming on. He's like, "All right, let's talk about Swamp Thing. I got new books to talk about, Radio Apocalypse, things like that." And then the first thing I'm going to ask him, he's like, "What's your hairstyle routine?
Yep.
Like, what's your hair care routine?" Anybody else read the Swamp Thing Future State?
I did.
What'd you think?
Well, and here's the thing. When I first got into the future state stuff, I was planning on going all in. I wanted to experience the whole thing and then, maybe do a review on it. And again, after the first week, the next week, a bunch of books shorted. And so I get to read it all. And because of the fact that I had read a bunch of them at once, I don't remember a lot of what I read.
Yeah, right.
I do remember that I really liked the Swamp Thing a lot. The one thing that stood out to me was most of the books are taking place within 5 years after the end of Dark Knight's Death Metal, and it seemed that the Swamp Thing book took place much farther in the future.
Yeah.
But again, I remember more of the artwork, but I don't quite remember what happens. Just being honest. So, and that may be a part of getting old too.
Well, they're looking for humanity, and like Swamp Thing's created this race of like swamp people and looking for humanity, and then they find them, and then one of them kills one of his people, but all the swamp people want Swamp Thing to kill the human, but he's not. But they're like, why? And it's like almost this idea that there's this mutiny that's about to erupt amongst his people because you get all these other plant creatures being like, oh, humans are more important to Swamp Thing than we are. And
so I remember getting the feeling when I was reading that, you remember the Swamp Thing series way back in the day when he basically was realizing for the first time that he wasn't human.
Yeah.
So with this story, I thought, are they going to subvert this and go back the other way and revert it back to, humanity being more important? And I don't know. I mean, I kind of got the feeling that they were going to subvert that on its head. So I do remember that about it.
Plus, there's artistic references to the anatomy lesson in the book because he's talking about how he first started forming his lungs and all this. And it's a direct reference to that issue, that classic issue of Swamp Thing.
Oh, my gosh. I remember back in the day reading that. I was so shocked, when that came off the page. And so it immediately took me back to that issue.
Yeah.
And but I really think that that's what they're doing. They're kind of turning that on its head.
The last issue of the Swamp Thing comes out this week, y'all. By the way, I have it in the living room right over there, but I haven't read it yet. That was a weird.
By the way, on the whole future state thing, like I said in the beginning, I dove right in. But when I went to the new LCS, I cut a bunch of them out because I'm not going to go back and read everything. It's just going to take too much time to catch up. So I'm going to miss out on a few of them.
That's probably okay.
I really want to get that Aquaman though. After hearing your review, I need to go back and get that one.
Aquaman was a big surprise for me. I wasn't really looking forward to it. I think this writer Brandon Thomas did a couple of Aqualad Jackson centric issues in the middle of Kelly Sue's ending, and I didn't really feel them. But this one was awesome. So Jackson's grown up; he's Aquaman now. Andy, who is Aquaman and Mira's daughter, is kind of his sidekick, and the artwork is amazing. And it's one of those rare Aquaman books where I feel like I am underwater when I'm reading this. Like they do such a great job. Because there's so many times you're like, they could literally just be flying. Why is there a throne in Atlantis on the floor? Why are there doors on the floor? Why are they not why does it not look like coral and people?
Too much, Robbie. You're thinking about it too much.
Who would, I mean, I'm just saying, if you have a whole race that's based in underwater, like the architecture would be completely different. Whatever.
Can't argue that at all.
Dylan, did you read any Future State books?
No, I told you that earlier.
I know. I just wanted to make sure. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you.
I only got the Justice League one, and I didn't get it because my shop ran out of Next Batman, and I asked you for that one, but
they're in your box, brother.
Yeah. So I haven't even been able to really read anything. So I was gonna get that Dark Detective, but I passed on it, and then I heard it was good. So
I think I'm the only one here that's read them all, and so I will say that for my favorite is Swamp Thing. My next favorite is Dark Detective. Dark Detective, the artwork alone is so freaking good in this book, y'all. It's Dan Mora, but he's colored by Jordi Belair. She is doing something different than Tamara Bonvillain does on his coloring, but still like has got a great like color palette and the whole like neo-noir cyberpunk feel of Gotham during this Magistrate era. I absolutely love the whole, the Magistrates, like Gotham's this police state. They have orders to shoot masks on sight, and I thought the Grifters backup story was good. The Red Hood backup story was okay. It's the only one that had backup stories I actually cared about. The rest of them are okay. I think Next Batman's pretty solid, but it would have been more solid if Darrington was on the artwork the whole time. But Aquaman was also a big surprise for me. But for the most part, and Wonder Woman, I think the Wonder Woman book's really cool, and I think Yara Flor is going to be the standout from Future State.
Yeah, I think so too.
Robbie, so you're the one who's obviously reading all the Future State books. So what your total opinion in general for the whole deal? Pass or buy?
For the whole deal, pass. But you should definitely buy the ones that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Because Swamp Thing even though it will not deal story-wise with what happens in March going forward, it's the exact same creative team. So thematically, that's where their run starts.
Sure.
Right. So if you're interested in Ron V Swamp Thing, I would pick that one up. And the second print of a lot of these start coming out this week. Dark Detective I had a lot of fun with though, but and Next Batman I like too, but like Next Batman's an $8 book, but they did announce that they are doing just the Next Batman bits in a hardcover for like $20. So if you want to wait, that's going to be the best way to pick that up. It seems like the only things that are going to move forward from this are the thematic relevance of Ron V Swamp Thing, Yara Flor, who's going to continue to have her own book and a TV show, and a Next Batman. His series is going to continue as well. But it's not going to be $8. This is obviously repurposed 5G type stuff. And so they threw a lot of them in there just to do this. There are going to be backups in some DC books going forward, but they're not going to be as excessive as $5.99 and $7.99 unless you like the cardstock covers. Those are still going to be $1 more.
One thing I wanted to say about the Dark Detective book that just came out this week, issue number 2, that Red Hood story, I couldn't get through it. I love Williamson's writing, but the artwork put me off so bad.
I did not like the artwork.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go back and read it again just because Williamson's never let me down. But I've got to kind of divorce myself from what I was seeing, especially with some of the dynamic color we've been getting out of the Future State books and some of the amazing artwork that's been there. That was like a total slap in the face letdown. Like what happened here?
Yeah. And for the most part, I've been liking the Magistrate books too. Like I really liked Harley Quinn. Like Harley Quinn was really freaking good. And Stephanie Phillips is going to be the ongoing writer. And I'm excited because I liked her interpretation. She wasn't obnoxious. She wasn't Deadpool-y, but she wasn't just this like Joker sidekick. She had her own agency and character, but it wasn't annoying and obnoxious to me. And in that one, you had Simone DeMeo doing artwork where, yeah, let somebody else color your artwork. Like if that was the artwork on We Only Find Them When They're Dead, I think I would not be giving up on that book.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really like the Harley Quinn book. The other one I liked also was the Nightwing. I thought that first one was a solid read. I don't think that's going to go anywhere though, because I'm really excited about the fact that Tom Taylor is going to start the new Nightwing.
Yeah, me too.
Be interested in that.
Yeah, and with his same artist from Suicide Squad. So,
oh my gosh, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm very pumped. I didn't like the Nightwing one because I'm tired of Nightwing being like them trying to like Jason Todd Nightwing. Like, yeah, he's brighter. He's the bright one. He's the one. Like they all got problems. All the Robins have problems, or they wouldn't be Robins. Right. But like ever since that Titan show, it's like they just keep trying to make Dick edgy and gritty and dirty.
I can't stand it. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can say is that, with the next Batman, it's been kind of soft. I mean, that's not my Batman. I like the concept because I thought, Lucius Fox's son, being Batman was a great idea. But he is not the intense Dark Knight of Gotham City that I want to see. And the intensity that they showed inside of Dick, but beyond them trying to make him a Dick, was the fact that intensity is what I'm wanting to see out of my Batman. So,
A Dick?
What?
A Dick? Who's A Dick?
Yeah, Dick Grayson. They tried to make him a Dick. There you go.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't feel need to point it out like Bueller did, though.
Tom Taylor, is that going to be like a mini series, or is that like his own? Like that's the full run Tom Taylor on Nightwing.
He's the new writer on Nightwing. Period.
When it comes back out,
I hope they give him Batman after that, bro, because he should get Batman.
Well, he's got a 6-issue Batman series, but it's set in a different reality.
Yeah.
And that one shot he did in Detective Comics about last year.
Yeah, I loved it too. Incredible. That's why I've been wanting him for a while on Batman. I was hoping he'd get like Batman or Detective after Tanahashi or after King and Tinian or something. But Tinian's so hot right now. They're gonna milk that one as long as they can.
Tinian.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would.
Or no, as far as I heard on Will's show, it was Tynan.
It's Tinian.
Tinian.
That's why his thing is called Tiny Onion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Will. He doesn't know.
Dylan, what's something you read you want to talk about?
Yeah, I know. Didn't you say this was your pick of the week?
Yeah.
Dude, I swear that first Batman story might be one of the best Batman stories I've ever read. I wanted to know which one because I didn't watch. I like flipped through your video. I'll be honest, so I forget what you said. I'm not gonna lie and just say what
Just curious.
Watch this garbage.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't read everything. I can't read everything like Robbie.
I don't expect everybody to watch every single minute of my 50-minute
I don't
content.
have to
I
because
do.
I watch Robbie's video and it kind of fills me in on what I missed.
Trust me, there's plenty of times I've watched all of them because there's plenty of times that there's books I wanted to know about. And
I know that he watches a lot of some things because he messaged me the other day and he was like, I didn't know that the In Search of Darkness people reached out for you. I'm like, dude, I randomly mentioned that on some stream.
Exactly, bro. I watch a lot of your shit, bro.
Yeah. The first story is by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's about this preacher who's dying in the rubble of this explosion, and Batman has to go save him. But the preacher knows that he's about to die. Like, he's not going to make it. And Batman is like, no, I can fix this. I can get I can do this. And he goes, no. He's like, oh, I didn't save you. And he takes off his mask and he's like super depressed about it. And then the preacher's like, no, you're here. You were put here because I don't want to die alone. And now I'm not. And like, it's a really touching story.
Dude, so good, man. And the Mitch Gerard's artwork is so good, man. It looks like real life. Like,
Yeah.
It's very
It's
detailed.
so freaking good. Then you got the Sophie Campbell book with Catwoman and Batman.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
was a good one.
It's like a spy versus spy type thing that I loved. Gabriel Hardman, look at the beautiful thing of that. Batman wrecks the Batmobile. That's what that one is. But the one that I loved was this one. It's the Dustin Weaver story in which there's this
I like
alternate.
that one too.
That one is the most unsettling Batman story I've ever read, bro.
That one was like odd, bro.
And then David Ajah did this 1940s noir comic strip thing.
That one might have been my least favorite, but it was
Dude.
cool. The way it was set up was really cool. It would
Yeah.
seem more like an old school detective, like kind of trying to homage the old school, you know.
Did you not hear me just say it's a 1940s comic strip? It's even dated.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Oh, 1949.
Pay attention, Dylan.
man.
Shut up. You say so many words out that big mouth.
Oh, man.
That Joe Rogan microphone.
I know. Now Jim's got one. Everybody's getting them now.
You guys want to go backstage and talk this out real quick?
No, man, I'm fine. I like it. If I josh with you, I want you to josh back with me.
There we go.
I just don't want you to curl up to the corner and never show up again. Dylan, so what did you like about it so much?
You basically said it, man. I mean, it was a phenomenal story. That's the one that stole this issue away from me. That's all I can really say. I mean, you basically touched on everything, boss.
Damn, I'm sorry. I shouldn't. I stole your thunder.
You said it better than I would have.
Yeah.
Anybody else read this yet?
I didn't get to. Of course, number one was another one that I was shorted on, and so because of that, I didn't pick up number two. Now I'm regretting it, of course, after hearing your review on it, and so eventually I'll go back and be able to read issue one, and then I'll get to number two. But
Every time they do a Batman black and white, like, I just love it. Like, they literally get the best creators and they got like 8 pages and they have to do it in black and white. And it's like, they're like, we got to bring our all to this. And every time they do it, I think it's just phenomenal.
Missing out.
What do you like better? Because I actually I haven't started the Wolverine. You like that one, the Wolverine, or the Batman better?
Batman. I think that the Wolverine one is good. I like
the
Batman.
artwork is really good. I know.
The artwork's great in the Wolverine one too. And I like these anthologies that they do like this. There's a Superman one coming out called Red and Blue that I'm really excited for.
You see the Carnage one?
Yeah, the Carnage one, I'm pumped, and everybody's going to want that Patrick Gleason cover because it's Carnage, just like his Spider-Man.
I didn't see it. I saw there was a really cool Gleason cover for Alien though that I ordered.
Nice, but yeah, I like anthologies, and I like when they do cool things like that with the artwork. And like, it's easier to get top tier talent to do an 8-page story, and it's cheaper than getting them to commit to like 10 issues of a 20-page book monthly, you know?
Right.
So you get some good
They
stuff.
don't even got to get a colorist.
I know, right? What do
Yeah.
y'all think about King in Black so far?
I like it. I think issue 3 was great. You know, like you've been saying, that hero's journey, the last like what was the last 2 issues of King in Black, or well, issue 1 was them just getting defeated, but issue 2 and then like 2 issues of Venom where Eddie's just, you know, like
Falling.
dying or you know, I guess dying in the hospital. But yeah, I thought it was cool, man. It was dope as hell to see Thor come in there and just, you know, wreck some shit. But it's nice to see, you know, that he didn't just come in and, you know, whoop Noel's ass. I mean, Noel's a cool contender, man. Honestly, it's kind of weird though to see that it's gonna end so soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna. I don't know how satisfying it can be. What's that?
I thought this was gonna, like, King in Black was gonna be a setup for like one more big event to end it all. You know, I think that would. I know it would have been, you know, lasted a while, but if this is what he had planned, I mean, I'd rather him do what he planned instead of trying to push it. Just like, you know, Jeff Lemire did with Gideon Falls. Like, if that's what he had planned, I mean, fine. I'd rather him not stretch it, but I don't know.
I still find it hard to believe that Venom 200 is the end of it. I think that there's something else.
That's what
I think there's something else that's just not called Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you may be right there.
I don't know. That's what I think. What are you guys thinking about?
Maybe Dylan getting his own.
What are y'all thinking about it?
It's all coming to an end. It's all coming to an end. I mean, actually, they might not even do a 5th issue. They might just cut it off at 4.
Yeah.
One more and done. Yeah.
What if Noah wins, right? And then they're like, surprise, Marvel Universe is over.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I wouldn't mind it.
Heroes Reborn. There we go.
Oh, God.
That's what Heroes Reborn is. Oh, my God.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. We're done.
Dr. Doom Juggernaut.
I'll tell you what, man. If you're going to revisit Heroes Reborn, just go with it. Just go for it. Like, I want Rob Liefeld coming back. Let him actually do some cap, get fired again, you know, 4 issues in.
So I've been loving King in Black. I think one of my favorite things about it is the pacing, and you know, that mixed with reading Venom at the same time, because I mean, let's face it, those are the only 2 main parts of the story. I haven't really enjoyed many of the tie-ins. Like Dark Knight's Death Metal. I loved almost every tie-in that event. But the King in Black, the tie-ins really have no bearing on the story, which is kind of par for the course for Marvel. And you know, I know that, you know, people were talking about, you know, what happens next. We had a tweet or an interview this last week with Stegman and Cates, where they said there is nothing else. He's dead. That's basically it. And so, but I don't believe that it's the end. I think that we've had a lot of premonitions for what's going to be coming. You know, we had the whole issue with Wraith, you know, that character Wraith, and the last issue, the King of Black, we're now dealing with the light coming. And of course, that symbol that was on the ground that was in that Wraith book, we don't know what that symbol is, but there were 6 dots on that symbol. So the Infinity Stones are going to come into play inside of this in some way, shape, or form. I still think we're going to get Thor's hammer with the Infinity Stones on it, and we're going to have something else that's going to be set up that's going to be absolutely huge.
Oh,
so that dream. What was it? Was it a dream inside of Thor where you saw Thanos with the hammer?
Yeah, but that makes sense how Thanos might get the hammer. You know,
so I still think all that stuff's a ways off. Like all the
too, but I think this is the setup for it.
I gotcha.
Most definitely.
It might end Eddie Brock's story, but it has to fizzle out to something for Thor, because he's obviously continuing Thor, so that would make sense.
And if they really are done with Eddie, they're not done with Dylan.
They're not done with Dylan.
That's why I said I joked, and I was like, maybe Dylan's getting his own solo series or something, but you never know.
The Prince in Black, Dylan.
Yeah. What was it? Oh, I was gonna say I almost thought the Silver Surfer was the God of Light, but he's not. No way.
He's not. He's like just the herald, right? So then,
Yeah.
like, who do you think that God of Light is? Because
That's what I'm wondering.
it ain't Galactus.
It's not Galactus, that's for sure.
Spoilers: Galactus dead right now.
But I
He's been dead before.
it'll
Ooh,
definitely be interesting.
notifications are going off.
maybe one of the alternate versions of Thor. I don't know, but
Beyonder.
that's going to be the reveal.
I'm telling you, it's
Beyond, the Beyonders are all dead, man. Doom
No,
took
not this
Doom
one.
killed them all.
one. Beyonder 2.
They already did that.
Beyonder 3.
Remember?
Beyonder 3.
Yeah.
I also want you guys to remember, as far as I'm wrapping this up, Venom issue 200 is like a giant sized book. I mean, it's like 100 pages. It's like a $10 book. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff told in that story to kind of bring it to a conclusion. So it's not like it's just a couple issues left. I mean, that's the size of 3 issues right there. So
We're going to get 30 pages of story with a bunch of pinups and
That's what they'll give you one story, one Kate story, and then a story to lead into the next Venom run that's not done by Kate's. They gotta add a couple mini stories in there.
I'm going under.
Speaking of the tie-ins, the only tie-in that I really have liked so far is Daredevil, because I thought it was a great moment for Zdarsky. Obviously, is not going to have Elektra be Daredevil forever, right? No. And they're already laying the seeds, right? And I loved in that issue where they talk about Daredevil's privilege and the fact that he can even wear this mask in there. Like, right. They wouldn't do that for anybody, and I think it's silly, but I also love that Zdarsky embraces the silliness of superhero comics, right? So I think it's a great way to have kind of a filler type story that is Elektra's first mission as Daredevil, right? And not have it be on the main thread where he has to keep moving it. So I think for a couple issues, I thought it was okay. People lose their minds, though, I've learned, apparently, when anybody gets a symbiote. So when Typhoid and Matt get that symbiote, everybody was like, what? And I'm like, I mean, that's all right. We've seen that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
But did you like that one, Bob?
Well, I actually did. I mean, out of all the tie-ins so far, I really enjoyed it because, Chip didn't veer from what he's been telling. He still was able to keep with his main thread while still having to deal with a tie-in inside of the book. So I really appreciated that. We've had Typhoid Mary sitting with Kingpin for a little bit here. And as soon as they had, Elektra, the reveal with Elektra as Daredevil, of course, I'm thinking at some point we're going to have, Elektra face off against Typhoid Mary, which is going to be awesome. Wasn't expecting it to be in symbiote form. I wasn't too crazy about that. Wasn't too crazy about, the whole nullized Daredevil. But the rest of the book, I really enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't a wowing issue. It didn't wow me, but I think my favorite part of the whole issue was when he's sitting and he's talking to that other inmate, and he basically puts him in his place, like, you ain't us, bro. Yeah. Don't talk to me about doing your time, because when you walk out of here, you can go do whatever you want because you got that mask on. You ain't like the rest of us, bro. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. And he's like, at least Luke Cage, when he kicks our ass, we can see who he is.
Yeah, right. I see some people in the chat saying that the Black Cat tie-ins are good. I only read the first issue, didn't really dig it, but I heard the second one was good. And yes, the Immortal Hulk one-shot was really good. I did forget about that one.
That was a Christmas.
That was a really great, solid story. The Iron Man Dr. Doom one was ridiculously dumb to me. Like, yeah. Dr. Doom and Iron Man versus Santa Claus. Like, what?
Please.
That was my favorite.
By the way, I didn't get the Immortal Hulk. I still haven't read that one yet. And
that's a quick read.
The Black Cat I got, but I got the Shannon Mare cover, which I've already sent off to CGC, so I haven't read it yet. I'm not going to that way.
You ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna be able to read it when you get it back.
That's right.
Might as well just get digital.
So,
Bueller, is there anything else you want to talk about, brother?
Well, let's stick on Donny Cates and go with his other book that he's doing. I just want to hear your thoughts. What are you guys thinking about this? Are you liking it or not? Crossover number 3. I know Dylan's a big Donny Cates fan. That's his favorite, person in the world besides Bob.
Yeah.
But any thoughts on crossover the series itself in general?
I like it. It's not my favorite so far, though. I feel like if I kind of wish I did go back and read the paybacks, because I was gonna at one point, because obviously, you know, that's a big thing for issue 3. But I mean, it's cool that he's kind of been able to like build his own little world in a way. You know, like he's got his little image verse right now. I feel like he's bringing some of his characters he's created. You know, he's bringing some of Kirkman's, but it's not really like hitting me, you know, like that big where I'm like, oh my god, this is just blowing me away. You know, I mean, it might take some time because it's totally new characters. I mean,
Well, it's almost over.
Is it? I thought I didn't know if it was ongoing. Wow, it's only a mini.
I've heard Kate say it's an ongoing.
Oh, really?
I could see it getting better. It almost feels like Undiscovered Country in a way where it's just so big, like it can be so big, you know, and it takes time. But I like it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. You know, I'm not in love with it so far.
I'm in love with crossover because of the end. The final page of issue 3 was all I needed to be completely head over heels. And I've been asked this question a lot. You know, someone explain the cliffhanger in crossover. All right, here's the thing, y'all. Spoilers for crossover. That character that shows up at the very end, that's Madman. That's Madman.
Yeah, Madman.
One of the absolute best comic book creations in history. The best, newest, like in the last 30 years, the best new characters created are not Deadpool and Harley Quinn. It's Hellboy, his name was, and Madman. I am so freaking excited for Mike Allred's Madman to be in this book, yo. It blew my mind because we're all thinking it's going to be a Superman type thing or whatever. And it's fucking Madman, y'all. I love Madman so much. I'm done. Aside from that, it's really cool because Donny Cates is telling us a story about his love of comics. And I that really comes across to me in that book.
Apparently, issue 4 has another reveal like that with another character.
I know issue 6 is supposed to be big too. Yeah. See, I feel like issue 3, like issue 3 is the best issue in my opinion. You know, that's the best issue.
I agree, and we know Spawn's coming. You can't hide that. Like Spawn's coming. Savage Dragon's probably going to be involved.
He's on the damn cover.
Right? You know, you just think of the Image properties, you know, things that he's going to be able to use.
Invincible, Wildcats, you know, all of those guys.
I still think that random book that they did last month, what was it called? That Kirkman random book that was like issue 17.
Yeah. I can't think of the name of it.
I can't think of it either.
I'm surprised if that's part of it, you know? Like that's a comic book from that. There's someone on the cover to issue 4 that they haven't revealed yet. They're going to reveal it on a certain day. I wonder who that is.
Interesting.
I think it's the dude from Haha.
Got solid blood.
Charlotte Balloons.
That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
It
is the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
Solid Blood. That's the name of the book. Yeah.
There you go.
Unfortunately, I haven't read issues 2 or 3 yet.
I'm sorry, man. Madman shows up.
No, it's okay. No, I'm good. I'm good. That actually makes me really excited. But real
sorry, spoiler alert. Payback show up too.
Another one that I'm behind on because I got shorted.
Yeah. How do you get short on that, man? They got plenty of copies sitting on the shelf today.
I didn't get issue 2. I got issue 3, but I didn't get issue 2.
Yeah. Bob doesn't like to look on the shelf. He just goes to his box. He doesn't bother to go look on the shelf. He's like, I got over there. If it's not
I go to the shelf every time, bro.
If it's not on his box, he just where's my books?
Oh man, you're gonna get it so bad.
Yeah, whatever, dude. That's great. So anyway, that's my crossover. I thought it was, I don't think it's as good as what I was anticipating, to be honest. I thought that's a little lackluster to me as far as the hype around it, which is maybe well overblown. I think it's somewhat of a letdown, to be totally honest. That's not the same book. It's just like I was expecting a lot, big time, kind of a, when I look at King in Black and kind of how number 1 like blew up and stuff, with just like the big blockbuster summer movie type thing and hits the fan and everything is going crazy. That's kind of how I thought crossover was going to be from the first start.
Yeah.
It's just been kind of like, more of a, story about people that work at a comic shop and stuff. And who cares about people that work at a comic shop?
What's wrong with that, Bueller?
That's what the thing is. I feel like the story.
It's a story about Robbie. And like a comic book characters coming to life.
I'm just telling y'all, Madman. Like,
Yeah.
that's all I need.
The seller. That's the seller, I think, of this book is Madman, the paybacks, all these image characters in one book. But I'm not really digging the regular characters, like the girl and
I like them. I think the girl's fine.
no, I don't hate them. I'm saying they're just not up at that top. They're not. It ain't like no Erica Slaughter or nothing. She's supposed to be somewhat a little powerful, isn't she? A little superhero.
Yeah, right. There he is, Madman, right there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anybody else here Madman fans? Y'all ever read any Madman stuff?
I only read X-Ray Robot, but I like Mike Allred, but that was the first and it was that recent X-Ray Robot. That's the first thing I've read.
I hope if anything, because this is something I thought I was like, well, I know I'm going to be excited about that, but most people are going to be like, who's that? They're going to think it's some kind of new character, right? But I hope if anything, it will get, because right now the Madman stuff is hard to find. It's like the trades are out of print, so it'd be nice to get them back. Madman is from the series, believe it or not, Twitch. It's called Madman. So, but it's fantastic. Madman. Oh my goodness, nobody knows Madman. I definitely got to clue you guys into some Madman. Madman it's a character created by Mike Allred, published at Dark Horse, and then into Image and AAA Pop, but from the 90s into the 2000s, and then Mike Allred started doing other things. But Madman is such a great, quirky, fun, retro type book that is just zany and will go from kitschy, like absurd, silly things and sci-fi to like philosophical musings and alien contact. And it's a great book to read with your Teen Dog shades on.
That was pretty good.
Did you?
The TV show was great. Advertising in the 60s.
See, we got some Madman love right there. There it is. Dominic says, graphic music, Odyssey. Love Madman. Hell yeah. Oh, we're going to do a whole Madman bit tomorrow night on Rockin Robbie Live. You just wait and see. It's coming out now. I was showing off a bunch of Madman stuff earlier because, one of the things I did in the pandemic was try to collect all the Madman single issues. And so I remember showing a bunch. And if anybody remembers, I was showing that David Bowie cover. Mike Allred to me is just one of my favorites. In fact, Mike Allred did the David Bowie biography in comic book form, and it's freaking gorgeous. It's awesome. So I think it's going to be tough for Cates to live up to any hype now from this point forward, though. When Cates gets announced for a book, I think people are already have so much anticipation,
Also, too, you think of his rock, you almost think he's almost like the rock star of Marvel in a way. So you think it's about to be some crazy dark, because Nolan stuff, and this ain't that. This is different. It's different. So, like I said, I'm not gonna hate on it, but I do want to see where it's gonna go. I think it could go to interesting places, no doubt.
Bob, what's another one you want to talk about? You got one?
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, do I go Once in Future or do I go We Live? Let's go We Live. I've just been absolutely loving the We Live series. I think the Miranda brothers, they're doing an amazing job. I love the artwork. I love the pacing. And there's a piece of it that's very heartfelt, which I absolutely love. But I didn't expect the book to go in the direction that it did. And ever since the first issue, it's just been this trek of adventures that, they move along to a certain point and then boom, this next event happens. And even though it's kind of become formulaic, I've enjoyed the book so much. I love the writing. I love the artwork. The colors are just absolutely amazing. I don't know if anybody's been using the QR codes for the music that goes with it. But that kind of adds to the mood and feel, to the book and to the story. And I really enjoyed that. So any of those times where they're traveling, from one spot to another, that's where he kind of creates this mood and effect with the music. And I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. I think we're going to get more of that in comics going forward. I'm on board for it. I guess I'm like really boring, Bueller, because everybody's taken off, but that's all right.
You're not boring. I didn't read We Live, though, to be honest.
Everybody's gone now. So I just sit here by myself and just talk about comics. But We Live is one of those that I've enjoyed very much since the first issue, and I think this last issue, it was great. I can't wait to see what happens, and I think the next issue is supposed to be the final issue. Is that right?
Of We Live.
Of We Live.
Is it just 5?
I think it's 5. It's either 5 or 6, but
I think it might be 5.
We're right there at the ship that's supposed to go up, and of course who knows what happens next. But I think what we're going to get is, now that the 2 main characters are split, we may see that story, if they do it further. We may see them go in completely different directions and have their own story arcs before they come back together. That's just got the feeling that I got with it. The next time that we see them together, they will have grown. And so I'm looking kind of forward to maybe that aspect of it if they go that way. But really, We Live has, of course it's post-apocalyptic. Of course, it's got some great deep sci-fi stuff inside of it. But there's the little things inside of that book that have really, I've really enjoyed. Like in the first book, when they go inside of, they're playing hide and seek, and he goes inside the house, and they pull the kid out of the house, and he doesn't realize that there's somebody behind the screen there that's been hung. And so there's little tiny things throughout the book, that shows that yes, these are a couple of kids, and they've got this. They're really oblivious to the horror that's going on around them while it's happening, and that's kind of been the way it's been through the whole book. And I think this last book was no different. I think issue 4 was probably the most that reality has hit them, and so I've enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I just checked, and 5 is the last issue for now, at least. That book, I've loved it because it's got great artwork. It was nowhere near my radar when I read issue number 1. Mm-hmm. And every single issue surprises me. I cannot figure out where the story's going, and right. I love that. I love it.
Absolutely.
And that ape creature is like I want a toy.
So cool.
I just want a toy. So.
I was mad in the first issue when that old guy got taken out, because I loved that character, and so that surprised the heck out of me. But where we've gotten to with issue 4, I'm so excited for the next issue, and I really hope they keep it going.
Hey everybody, look at that! 62 Lefty Blue says Madman Library Edition Volume 1 comes out in April. Woo! Station, hell yeah! So maybe you guys, a lot of people will read. I think a lot of newer collectors will read Madman and be like, "What the hell is this?" Because it's so weird. It's such a great, fun, weird retro book.
If it's like that X-ray robot, you're in for a damn treat. Like you said, Teen Dog shades, wear them.
Oh, bro, it is. So Madman, in a nutshell, Madman is a character named Frank Einstein. That tells you where we're going, right? He's a character. He dies. He is brought back to life by this mad scientist, and he doesn't remember his past except for little bits and pieces, and then the whole story is him falling in love. The whole thing is a romance between him and Joe. Like, that's what it is, and it's the most pure and beautiful romance in comic book history. Everybody talks about Spidey, Mary Jane. Everybody talks about Superman and Lois Lane. No, Madman and Josephine. That is the best relationship in comic books. Anyway, so the book is about that, and there's like beatniks, street beatniks that beatniks. Yeah, and they get mutated, so they're the mutant street beatniks. Bruh, it's like the most wild, fun, zany stuff. Thank you so much, Sleepy Reader.
Hey, Damien.
How you doing, Damien?
We can try to get some real chalupas now.
He knows what real chalupa is.
I mean, apparently the Oregon. Do y'all's chalupas have color on the shell, Dylan, up in Ohio?
What do you mean color?
Do they look like a pancake?
Does your chalupas look like they came out of a Halloween store, like they've been blown up? And
it's like a gummy. Like I had a gummy chalupa.
Embarrassed.
They just look like little puffed up tacos.
I've still yet to be able to share a chalupa with Robbie, because that was not a chalupa.
Oh, Well, one day, Bueller, God damn it. Anyway, here's something I want to talk about. Does anybody read the Tom King DC books right now? Because I think all three of these are like supremely solid. Anybody reading these?
Bat and Cat is the only one I've read.
You know, I have Rorschach, and I haven't read any of it, but I've bought them all.
Dude, I was going to get issue 1, but then Robbie said it sucks. So I said,
yeah, I did.
But number 2 he liked.
Yeah, and I've loved 3 and 4. I think I like each issue better and better. Like
I'm glad it's up with Bat and Cat.
This is the only Watchmen related book I've ever read in which they're not doing anything related to the Watchmen.
Damn,
like they're
Chalupa box.
Oh man, we got 2 Chalupa boxes.
There you go,
hey,
man.
Eric just is there. Hey, buddy.
No, man, this should be your funds, your Portland trip fund. You should start doing something like that.
I know, but then the PCP Army wanted me to fund a Tomb of Dracula 10. I'm like, this is the wrong time to do that. That book is way too expensive.
Do a Portland trip fund, man. I mean, they want to see us all together. That'd be awesome.
You know it, but I can't, like, what if I raise all the money in like 2 weeks and then I'm like, well, I ain't going to Portland right now.
What's wrong with that?
I'm just waiting to get vaccinated, bruh. I don't even go to Walmart. Why am I going to drive to Portland?
You don't go to Walmart?
No, I don't go to Walmart.
You don't go to Walmart?
How do you get products?
What are you talking about? You ever heard of a grocery store? You ever heard the internet? What are you talking about? Walmart actually, believe it or not, Walmart sells things online.
I'm saying, but like groceries and shit, bro.
I go to the grocery store.
What's wrong? What's the difference from Walmart and a grocery store? They're both like grocery stores.
The difference is at Walmart, everybody's walking around like, "Whoa, what's up? I got my mask on."
I think that's everywhere.
Alabama.
Yeah, I'm in Alabama, y'all.
Walmart,
Right,
Alabama chalupas.
yeah. All right.
Hey,
all
we've all seen our chalupas. Imagine our Walmarts.
I love it.
Dylan is weird stretching.
There you go.
You're weird.
Wait, you don't go to Walmart?
Hey, People's here. I can't see everybody inside the chat, so it's kind of cool to see these names pop up.
Yeah, a lot of people in there. I know I don't pay attention to the chat too much when I have guests on because we have so much fun here, but
yeah, we got like 85 people watching tonight last time I checked. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We
I hope
always
everybody hit the thumbs up button.
Yeah.
we enjoy doing this thing and stuff. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, even if we go on about chalupas and
and Madman.
And Madman. I love Madman. What do y'all think about Once and Future this month?
Didn't read it.
Okay, Bueller, are you reading this book?
I'm not. That's actually a book. I don't have any of them. I'm sorry. I do have the first 5 issues, but I've never read them. And the only reason I have them is because they were gifted to me or whatnot. But I've never even taken a look at it. But I've heard so many great things about it.
Oh, you should read it. It's
so the whole first 6 issues are all about the Arthur stuff, and then they get away from that. They do Beowulf, and then they're getting into the Green Knight and all that kind of stuff now. And now they're bringing it back into the Arthurian type stuff. And we have our first appearance, I think, of Lancelot, who looks like a really badass, like medieval Iron Man or something.
Yeah, I was very, very. I love that reveal. That was so cool. But go ahead.
This is the best coloring in comics.
Spoiler alert.
Not a villain, man.
This is a spoiler show, brother. I'm sorry. Okay.
I just, Walmart?
What?
You don't shop at Walmart? How do you live?
You don't go to Hallmark? But,
How do you live?
I think this is the best part in comics right now, and they're introducing us to some new elements in this. And I think, when we were all talking about the best new characters of 2020, and we're all talking about Punchline or Ghost Hunter or maybe like Apocalypse's wife, Genesis, why did none of us really get into Granny? Granny from Once and Future is honestly one of my absolute favorite characters, and they add so much depth to this character who could just be a one-note joke, right? But they add so much depth to her in this issue.
She's amazing. But I think the reason why we didn't mention is because Once and Future came out in the beginning in 2019.
Yeah, that would make sense then.
Yeah. I love the last issue of Once and Future. I love Dan Moore's artwork. You can't beat Hammer Bonneville's colors. I think this is the best stuff that Karen Gillan is putting out. I like it better than Die. I love the book so much, even though we really haven't gone anywhere. It's like, what is this book about now? And I was kind of mentioning that on another show. I do think that we're getting back to the Arthurian stuff, which is great. But we really haven't moved much. We had this vehicle of almost every single issue in the last arc, just going to a new mythological character, having them take out that character really quickly, and then getting a lot of character development as we go along with our main characters. And I've enjoyed every minute of it, but I realized by the time this issue came out, I'm like, where are we actually going with the story? And but anyway, the reveal of Lancelot was incredible. I think that the relationship between Duncan and I can't remember Granny's name. I think is amazing, and I can't wait to see where they go with it next, especially if they bring it back into that Arthurian piece and we evolve the story going forward. But it is one of my favorite reads of the month. Another one coming out of Boom, just alongside of Something Is Killing the Children, and of course we don't have Red Mother anymore, but love Once and Future.
Don't worry, the Green Daddy's coming soon.
Yeah. Let's do this.
I love that they went beyond Arthurian legend. And I think it's the same thing as Something Is Killing the Children. Mm-hmm. You don't know if you're going to get beyond the first arc. Sales. You don't know what sales are going to be. You don't know what the support's going to be.
Right.
And so there's a lot in those 6 issues. And then they were able to kind of step back, slow it up. And I love that they were introducing other mythologies, because there's not a lot to work with when it comes to the UK, to England, as far as mythology goes. That's why Tolkien created Lord of the Rings, he said, because he felt it was terrible that they didn't have a mythology aside from the King Arthur stuff.
Right.
So the way that they were pulling from that, and there's not much to pull from, I thought was really cool. And getting back to it, and they're building up the characters. This to me feels like the best parts of the Mummy movie from the 90s. And Indiana Jones. It's like this adventure. It's a roller coaster. It's action-packed. It's got great character moments. It's got monsters. It's got like a little bit of everything. And I love it.
Levity alongside of comedy. It's really, really great.
Yeah, really solid stuff. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about?
Yeah, I got a few.
Let's go, Bueller. You like Turtles? Did you like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue?
No, this is I like Turtles. It's a reference from Oregon. So if you don't know what that's from,
the Zombie Kid. I remember that. The Zombie Kid.
Yeah, the Zombie Kid. There you go.
That's from Oregon. Was that your nephew?
Yeah, sure. Speaking of zombies, DCeased Dead Planet number 7. This came to an end. As you guys all know, this has probably been my favorite DC book ever since the DCeased story arc started the last year or the year before. It was sad because it's over now, and if they don't do any more, I hope they do, but they concluded it the right way. They cured the virus or whatnot, they somewhat saved humanity and everything, and they were able to bring the people who were zombies, bring them back from the dead, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, they weren't dead, but they were dead. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they saved them. They cured them. And so there was instances at the end of this book when they're like reuniting with their family members or with their loved ones, that through all this, because all the devastation in these books, every issue of DCeased, people are just getting wiped out. I mean, superheroes are just getting wiped out left and right. And that's kind of what drew me to this book. And then you see the ending, you see them coming together after years and years of them being apart. The thing they did with Constantine having all the different, things like the cloak and the staff and the helmet and everything, and all the different powers, and how he sacrifices himself. Then he comes back and then possesses that one character with the 4 eyes or whatnot and stuff. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. You had mentioned that, Superman is still in the sun, or zombie Superman or whatnot, because that's where he went. He never died, if I'm not mistaken. He just flew himself into the sun. So if they wanted to do another one, it's still there. They could bring Superman back. But I think they probably are done for this iteration. Maybe something, because remember they did other one-shots for this.
Yeah, they did the digital.
Yeah, and the digital. I would like them to release that on the physical. I wouldn't mind getting those and reading those, because that was a whole nother characters and stuff like that you can find out about.
They're going to do an omnibus.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, but this is one of my favorites. I'm sad to see it over because it was really one of my last DC titles on my pull list. But it lived up to it. Beautiful looking book.
With the fact that Tom Taylor is still like working with DC from this point forward, it makes no business sense for them not to do another one.
Oh yeah, it's one of
This
their
book
best-selling
sells.
books.
It's one of their best-selling books. The covers sell, so people buy multiple covers because they love the homage covers. They love those Matina, like the Mr. Miracle one you showed. Like that's amazing. That's
amazing.
Those are brilliant. So it would be literally the dumbest move DC's ever done not to do at least a third full-on DCeased book.
Yeah,
you know.
But I will still want a good story though. You know?
But if it's Tom Taylor, I think you'll get it because like.
Yeah,
and I think they're down to do it because Unkillables and the digital series and all that stuff, that's kind of like auxiliary, right?
Yep.
And you only have two main books. The first one in Dead Planet. So you got to do a third one at least to kind of tie it all in together and justify a $100 hardcover.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that we have had one writer on all four iterations of this title. And that's a testament to just how hot Tom Taylor is. And so I don't think we're going to see the last of this. You know, again, my fear in the very beginning was that we were just going to get another Marvel Zombies. They were just going to pump this out because, you know, Marvel did it. It was popular. Wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. And then for them to allow Tom Taylor to continue to tell the story in different formats. I mean, the Unkillables was something I wasn't expecting and highly enjoyed. And then A Dead Planet was amazing. I still haven't read the digital version yet. I probably need to go out and find that. But bottom line is that, you know, the fact that he's been on all iterations of the book is a testament to him. And if we get it going forward, I can't see them doing it with anybody else but him. So I can't wait.
Yeah, 100%. And the way he was able, he's in just these DCeased issues is able to establish legacy characters better than any other publishers ever tried.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like Damian as Batman, Jonathan as Superman, and I'm feeling it. You read Jonathan as Superman in Future State, and you're like,
Yeah.
But in DCeased, you're like, yeah.
This is the only time I've cared about those characters at all. I mean, I don't really have too much knowledge about the Sons or whatnot. But in this, I mean, that's what the DCeased Dead Planet is about them too, for the most part, and what they bring to the table. So I mean, I was all on board because I'm normally not a type of guy who likes the Sons or the other versions of the characters and stuff. For this one, I liked it. It really introduced me to a bunch of characters that I wasn't aware of. So without me even realizing I was being introduced to them, to be totally honest. So.
I think you would really, really like the Super Sons book by Peter Tomasi and Jorge Jimenez. Like Jorge Jimenez, who's just killing it on Batman lately. Yeah, that's where I first started noticing him. Bueller, that was one of the worst things about Bendis coming in to DC was the fact that he completely derailed what Tomasi was doing with Superman and with Jonathan and Damian. Yeah. So completely.
We all know how much you like the Superman books, Robbie.
Yeah.
As much as he loves Spider-Man books right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody like Spider-Man this month? So there was a question I wanted to address in the chat. Somebody had asked Beatles comics recommendations. I do have a couple. First of all, there's a book called Paul is Dead. It's about the theory that a lot of people had that Paul McCartney had died at some point in the history of the Beatles, and they replaced him with a lookalike. So it's the story telling that story. The same team's doing a new graphic novel this year called Jim Lives, which is about the theory that Jim Morrison faked his death.
Jim Morrison.
Yeah, so that's pretty freaking cool. And there's also a book called Nowhere Men, which is not about the Beatles, but it's like, what if scientists were the new rock stars? What if there were 4 scientists that changed the world the way the Beatles changed music? And it's a great book. The first arc has been complete for years. You can buy it, you'll read it, you'll love it. And then the second arc, nope, dead, stopped in the middle of it. Anyway, but that's a good one. So there you go. Boom.
I got nothing on Beatle books.
I don't think there are many. There's a book called The Fifth Beatle, but I've never read that. That's the story of the other guy, I think.
What about the Blue Beetle? Is that something?
Yeah, sure. Blue Beetle. That's fine. Yeah, Beetleborgs.
Beetle Bailey.
Beetle Bailey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Anybody reading Homesick Pilots?
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot to read issue 2 though. I love it though. Issue 1 was out of this world. I love the artwork.
I think it's easily one of the most accessible Dan Waters books out there.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. What about you, Bob? What do you think about the book?
I love Homesick Pilots. I definitely read the first one. I have the second one, and I actually read the first 3 pages before we started the show because I was hoping to talk about it tonight, but didn't get to finish it. But it looks like issue 2 kind of goes in a little bit of a different direction than the first issue, and so I'm kind of excited to see how it ends. But the first one kind of reminded me of I think I told you this before when we were doing reviews and stuff. It kind of reminded me of the Stephen King book Christine, because when she goes inside of the house is basically instead of a car, it's the house, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But this one, issue 2 seems like it's going to be getting more into the band, and not the fact that it's just happening to one of the people in the band, but for others as well. So
it also gets into the actual quest. Right, in issue 2, like what the house wants her to do.
Okay, yeah,
you get a little bit of that at the end of issue 1, where she's there to get the horseshoe, from the house, and so they lean into that. And then the idea that not only is it about a punk rock band, and Dan Waters was in the punk scene back in the day, and like that's why when he does this whole bit in issue number 2 about a character explaining to another character why the Ramones are one of the worst bands in history. And that's why they're one of the greatest punk bands in history. And I feel the realness of the scene a little bit, though it did seem a little weird that like the whole like going into the abandoned bowling alley and doing the show or whatever. But in this one, they get to the quest, and I'm just loving it. And the artwork and the color choices,
I love the color palette. The color palette in the book is amazing.
Yeah, really good stuff. Dan Waters is one of my favorite writers. He's going to be on the show soon.
Sweet.
So I'm really, really excited to chat with him. He's one of my favorites. What'd you say, Dylan?
Swing.
Swing.
All right. On the off chance that we get retweeted by Frank Gogol, anybody want to talk about Dead End Kids? Suburban Job #1.
I think we all got retweeted by Frank Gogol.
We sure did, didn't we?
I read that book a grip ago, like a month ago at least.
What'd you think about it, Dylan?
It's good. I like the original one so far better though, but it takes place between a very, crucial time in America or in the world. But I'll have to see where it goes on issue 2. So far I do like the characters. I'm not in love with them, but they're cool. They're it's more real life, like obviously, it takes place right around 9/11, and it's more diverse. I feel like because the first one, I think it was just a group of white kids, and this is more diverse, like an Arabic girl, maybe a Hispanic guy, and I forget, white girl too, I think, or something. But yeah, it was cool. It was good.
I like how they're all affected by 9/11, but they don't go out of their way to be like, on 9/11 in 2021, this is what, or 2020 or 2001, this is what happened to this person. You pick it up because it's such an event that is so in our memory, even if you weren't born yet. Like, it's kind of like the assassination of JFK. Like, it's just one of those events that instantaneously, you don't need to like Stan Lee it and over explain. He lets it breathe. And I thought it had amazing dialogue and a really intriguing setup and very much simple plan. These kids find a bag of money. And that ain't going to go well. I mean, you watch No Country for Old Men. It didn't go well for old Thanos when he found that bag of money.
That's true.
And always good thing about Frank Gogol is always his stuff is like 3 issues. So you're not, digging into something crazy. It's just a fun little 3-issue series. But a lot of time his stuff like hits home, and it, can be real personal to some, maybe even more personal to others, So I think he does real good with his dialogue, like you said.
His dialogue's great. His dialogue's great. And apparently he's got something big coming from one of the major publishers coming soon. So I'm very excited. He's a great dude. And like Fable said, he's a hustler. Yeah. I've never seen someone promote a book on their own as much as he does. And I've seen a lot of promotion, Yeah,
he's by far the biggest promoter as far as independent books of his own book that I've seen. I talked to him earlier in the week, and I just want to share. We were chatting back and forth, and he said this, and this is who he is. And I'm just going to say it. He might get mad if I share it, but whatever. He said, if I'm being honest, making comics is the only thing I've ever felt I've been good at. And if I don't pour everything into this, I don't what I'd be doing with my life. That's straight. That's what we were talking about. And Frank told me that. And you can tell. I mean, he really hustles to get this book out there to as many eyes as he possibly can, all by himself, because he realizes that, for one, the publisher really doesn't do it. Let's just be honest. They're not really talking about it.
None of them do it. None of them
do it. And Diamond, he's at the mercy of what Diamond decides to do, whenever they decide to put it out or whatnot or solicit it. Apparently, I think I remember reading some of his tweets or something that Diamond screwed up like multiple times when they were trying to list this book or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the guy's hustle on it is just impressive. And, he's dedicated. All his books, he drives his books. The first one, kind of popped. And then he did the No Heroin, and that popped as well. And now this one is popping also. And it's because of his personal, just like putting it out there and just, pushing these books and stuff. So my hat's off to the guy. I read it. I liked it. I thought it was a fun. I read the first 3 issues so far. And, I like the concept of finding a bag full of money. And you guys always know that that's attached to something, So, I mean, bags of money just don't sit there. There's something behind them. Right. And that's kind of the story behind this. So my hat's off to the guy.
Yeah,
he was on our coffee show.
Yeah, I highly recommend you checking out his early work, because now his first book that was done by Source Point, which is actually like an anthology book called Grief. Now it's back in print.
Yeah,
check that out. That's pretty cool. And then he did Dead End Kids, the first one, which is incredible. That one reminds me of like Stephen King, Stand By Me. So if you're a fan of
but
that,
in the 90s, right?
Right, yes. And then, he did No Heroin, which, is more like that punk, Buffy Vampire Slayer scene. And now
I just didn't like the art in that one. That was the only thing I didn't like. I just did not like the art in that.
I didn't even get to finish it, bro. My shop screwed me on issue 3, and I haven't been able to find an issue 3 anywhere. So
it's crazy, just as a testament to how much of a hustler he is. Like Bueller and everybody was saying, is like, I had somebody come in the shop today asking, do you have Dead End Kids Suburban Job #1? I was like, no, we sold out. Why'd you sell out of that? Because it's a spec book. Why is it a spec book? And I went, really? Because Frank Gogol promoted the shit out of it. There's no other reason.
He hustles it, man.
There's no reason, but it's happened to every single one of his books. It happened to Dead End Kids #1. It happened to No Heroin #1, and it's happened to #1 of this one.
Yeah, he's proud of what he does, man. He puts it out there, and I mean, a lot of creators, they just do it and put it out and wait until see what comes back. He doesn't wait. He just wants that thing sold out before he even hits a stand. So I mean, more power to him.
And so far,
he's succeeded pretty much every time, which is shows where his hustle's at.
We had a question in the chat that somebody wanted to get into Marvel. Where do they start? Anybody got any advice?
True Believers.
Ooh.
Buy True Believers.
Dollar reprints.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. The reprint of significance, exactly. Every True Believer is not just a reprint of a random book. Every True Believer book that comes out is something of significance that adds to the Marvel Universe. It's a cheap way to get into it. Unfortunately, I don't think they're doing any more of them. I haven't seen any listed for months.
Yeah, they did them all tied into King in Black, but I haven't seen any for what. Maybe they'll probably do some Heroes Reborn ones. You're gonna get a Rob Liefeld Captain America #1 for $1.
I take back what I just said. Sorry, don't buy that.
Anybody else got any advice?
From the Marvel?
Yeah, jumping in. I think, for instance, me and Bueller touched on this Wednesday. The way we all got into comics, jump in.
Jump in,
you'll get caught up.
And the thing about Marvel books, for the longest time they've had their standard operating procedure is that they want to make sure that if this comic book that you're reading is the very first comic book you've ever read, they'll give a synopsis in the beginning of that book, so at least you have a starting point with which you can hop into it in. And so Marvel in that way is more accessible than any other company storylines. And so just hop in or watch the movies and see what character you like, and then pick that character and start with that character.
Yeah.
There's a new X-Men book coming out. I'm looking forward to that.
Which one? Way of X?
What's
Legends.
that?
Way of X or X-Men Legends?
Legends.
Legends is exciting because they're going to go back to the 90s.
Well, that's what I want.
Stay there, okay?
Well, then you should read the newest issue of X-Men. I think somebody in the PCP Army, I think it was Paul, said that was the most 90s X-Men issue since 1997.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
Interesting.
I'm not the biggest Brett Booth fan. That's all.
Yeah, you're mistaken.
I'm mistaken that I'm not a big Brett Booth fan.
I'm glad you can admit that, Robbie. Thank you.
There you
I
go.
want my old X-Men team and not have this 25 different, titles out there with which that I have.
But you ain't got to read them. You ain't got to read every X-Men book, y'all. Let me just let you in on a secret. Just read the ones you like, and that's it. Even with Ten of Swords, just wait then. Get the trade when it comes out. It's going to be cheaper. It's all together. Who cares?
All the
right?
fonts are the same. I can't tell them apart. All the font. It's the font. They need to fix the fonts.
It's because Tom Muller's the designer, and Hickman's big into that. That Hickman designed that X logo that you hate.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I like it, but
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
yeah, whatever. I would definitely suggest that right now, Marvel's best titles that are early enough in that you can get caught up, maybe not through issues because some of the issues could be a bit pricey, but through trade, Daredevil and Thor. They're really good and still kind of early in. Thor in particular, I think, is going to be the driving force of the Marvel Universe for the next 3 years. So, and they're only like, what, 11, 12 issues in or something like that, maybe?
There's Avengers Mechs that comes out next week. That looks awesome.
That just looks like a reason to sell toys.
That's exactly what it is. They have a toy variant cover. It's literally just the toys.
And I'm like, God damn it, they're doing this shit again. We got another super chat from Scarpad. Best way to get into Marvel or DC really is buy a month of DC Infinite, Marvel Unlimited. You can try out so much more before. Yeah, 100%. There you go. Now, I did notice on the coffee video, Bob, you said that you were going to wait out for the DC Infinite. It is like an unlimited thing. I don't know if you're aware of that, but like they have a lot of like content there. Now it's just comic books, and I didn't even think about that, Scarpad. That's brilliant. Like, just get one of those apps, find like Bob said, one of your favorite characters from the MCU, and jump in and read the history, and or just start collecting Thor, because that's going to be the driving force.
Can't go wrong with that.
I don't agree with that either.
All right. Any final books anybody wants to talk about before we look ahead?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of books that too many books to go over. Just a couple of mentions. Strange Academy number 7, I really enjoyed. I thought this was a great issue, a lot of fun.
Yeah, every time I don't put that on my top 10, I get shit from somebody.
It's just a fun book. Either way, I mean,
I can't believe Ramos has been on 7 issues in a row.
Yeah. Another one we didn't talk about was Department of Truth. That was a great issue this month. I really enjoyed the Joker Harley, Criminal Insanity. The artwork's not as good as it was in the very beginning, but still, this is a very solid issue. And then the one issue that has surprised the heck out of me, I didn't think that I would keep this on my pull list. And last month I was kind of iffy about it, but Post Americana number 2 was gritty, visceral, gross, but I couldn't put it down, man. It was so much fun.
Gross, you say?
It is.
Yeah.
See, I skipped issue 2 because I just wasn't sold on 1, and I'm gonna have to go back and check it out on your recommendation, brother.
Oh, they go deeper into the stuff, man. It's just
You got no arms and legs.
yeah. No,
it's gross.
But other than that, what do you guys got?
Dylan Bueller, any final mentions?
Yeah, I got a couple of last ones real quick. This is from this week's Spawn 314. Really enjoyed this issue. This was actually my pick of the week for last week. So love that one. Love the introduction of the Omega Spawn character. I thought it was really cool.
So
and another one that came out towards the middle of the month. This was actually one of my favorite books. Big Girls, number 6. I think honestly this is it. I don't think they're coming back for more. I don't know if the sales were there because that's kind of what they were basing on, doing more issues. I don't think they were there. So
the sales were not there, but
yeah, they even say, Yeah, even the author says, like in the notes in the back, like we're hoping we're coming back. We'll just have to wait and see. But they wrapped up the storyline pretty good. You know, there was a bunch of naked dudes in here, and you know, Bob liked that. And he was all. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry. But anyway, Bob was a big fan of this book, and you know, it was fun. It was just a fun kaiju type story, you know, with a big, huge, giant, naked men and monsters and women.
Dude.
And I don't know, it was just a fun book. It was.
I had an awkward moment in my weekly comic book review talking about that issue because I was like, how crazy would it be if you just looked up and there was a giant dick just like knocking buildings down?
What's that? Oh my god!
What is that? Oh no!
How come the men didn't have clothes? Well, I mean, I guess they just kind of grew really fast. Yeah, because the women had clothes.
That's honestly how Hulk should be every time.
It should have been the reverse. That would have been nice. Come on, Jason Howard.
He was like, "Yo, I'm trying not to get canceled here. I can show as many dongs as I want, though. It's okay." Schlong man.
I like the Scotty Young cover. I thought this was a really great little variant cover that came out for the last one. So unfortunately, like I said, I think it's over. I don't think they're coming back, but it was a fun read. So if you guys haven't checked it out, the trade probably back out next month. Just pick up the trade for around $10. I think you're gonna like it. So.
Dreddy, you're right on the mark there. Seven Secrets, I think, had the best issue yet this month. And Scout's Honor by David Pepose was a really, really solid debut.
I did read Scout's Honor. I have Seven Secrets. I have Firepower. I didn't get to read either one. Again, I'm behind on my reading. And so I didn't get to get into those. There's a couple other books I wasn't able to get into as well. But
yeah, Firepower was fun. I've been digging that one.
Well, Dylan, any final thoughts on any books you want to mention?
I don't. You guys didn't read this one, did you? Warcorns?
No, I got a thing about Warcorns. I'll tell you about it post stream.
This is.
I got a grudge against that writer. I don't want to get into it right now.
No way. This dude is so funny though. I be cracking up reading this shit, especially the Franklin and Ghost. So that's kind of like tied into that universe, but
yeah,
it was just fun as hell. But no worries, man. You got your thing. But Stillwater was cool.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised Bob didn't mention Stillwater.
Yeah, well, I had to mention it.
Another one I have, but I haven't read it yet.
And too, bro, like it's like just like this is all about kind of rallying the town together to try to change plans that are going on. And you would think it's boring, bro, but
Madman shows up at the end.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, I wasn't trying to spoil him, but it was a good one from AWA. Man's World. Man's World was good. Really fun concept. Stuff we've seen before, but you add like a couple cool concepts in there, like this like basically island or vacation spot where they let these people go hunting. And then
but it's a different planet, right? So it's like they're going to another planet to hunt the exotic animals there in a very safe, Jurassic Park type way, right? But it goes completely wrong.
Yep, because the people that live there, like basically live in, like I don't know how you'd put it. Like all of these guys, they got like face tattoos and shit. They look, scary, and. Yeah, now that they're about to get to do their hunting share, they're about to play like the rich folks. So that one.
Bueller, can you put your hat back on? You're freaking me out.
No, you gotta live with it. Sorry. Screw you, Robbie. You get what you get.
This is nothing special, but fun, just pure fun. Like a Gremlins-esque story, but with technology. Kind of like Gremlins mixed with small soldiers or something,
and batteries not included. A little bit of that.
Very good one.
I like that book. I think issue 2 was really solid.
I didn't like it. I thought it was too kiddish. Is that Colin Bunn did that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is kind of. I
they're definitely going for the Gremlins thing because the dog's name is Gizmo. Like they're even like letting you know.
Well, Colin Bunn, he put that one, and another book came out the same week when the #1 came out. There was like a horror book or something like that from Colin Bunn. I can't remember the name. I thought it was a bigger book, like the size.
Oh yeah, the Pantomime or whatever. I got it somewhere back.
Piecemeal.
Yeah,
I haven't read that yet.
I'm gonna talk about these on the horror show with Jay Strick, but I want to throw out the Razor Blades issue 1. This is a horror magazine from Tinian. This was phenomenal. There's some
amazing.
Basically, like an anthology series, bunch of short stories, horror stories. Awesome.
What are you doing?
I don't care. Yeah, this was fun. But I'll get it right eventually. But what's been cool? I don't have it. Star Wars was dope. And Darth Vader's been fun as hell. Darth Vader was the best one, but Star Wars I've been enjoying too. So
nice. The last ones I'd like to mention is we talked about this briefly, but Lonely Receiver had a fantastic finale. Such a great cerebral and surreal book from Zach Thompson. And I thought that this was the best issue of Autumnal yet. I really think that in issue 4, it really sold me on this book. It's basically a character explaining what's going on, but it was done in a very chilling way. And the artwork by Chris Sheehan with Jason Wordie but I love the gutter usage there, how much space he gives, and there's no harsh borders. You see that? And I really like that feel. It's a very Sean Phillips type thing. There are boobies on that page. I can't show that one. But I really, really, really like this book, and I think this was the best issue yet. So that's what we thought about this week's books, or this month's.
Yeah. I got one other book. It came out towards the end of December, but I'm just curious to see what your thoughts were on it. The Gideon Falls wrap up. If anyone who read this, what do you think?
I loved the wrap up. I thought it was big and cosmic, but at the same time, it still fulfilled all of the smaller human moments that they were building up to. Yeah. But this is definitely a series that, just like Red Mother, I am looking forward to sitting down, and I'm pretty sure I can read all 27 issues in 40 minutes. So I love that book. I think it was drenched in atmosphere. I think Jeff Lemire is one of the absolute best talents we have in the comic book industry right now. And I'm very excited for whatever they do next, because they took a book that was a really cool urban horror mystery and turned it into this crazy multi-dimensional cosmic horror thing that I just thought was brilliant. And we're already scared of cockroaches, Jeff Lemire. Thanks for making us more scared of cockroaches.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm still trying to collect the series, and I'm kind of waiting until I get them all to kind of sit down and do kind of a binge read or whatnot. I'm pretty close. I think I'm 5 issues away from having all of them.
Nice.
But it's one of those ones to where, I've said it before. Gideon Falls and Oblivion Song came out in the same week, and I remember picking up Oblivion Song. So, okay, I'll go for this one, which I still enjoy, but I kind of wish I would have got the Gideon Falls as well. So have to go back and get them.
It's been one of the most consistently best books of the last 3 or 4 years. Just 100% every time. I always said it. Whenever Gideon Falls comes out, it's a great comic book day, because it's never not been amazing, and it never went in a way I thought it was going. It always took me by surprise.
I do want to mention really quick that this week Image is dumping a bunch of their Image First books.
Yeah,
I think they got 10 different ones. And they're all $1. They're all the first issues of a bunch of their popular series over the last couple of years. So if you missed out on something, you're going to get a chance. They're the same books. They're just like the True Believers version of Image thing. And you can pick up a bunch of books this week for $1 and jump on board. Some really great titles. So be on the lookout for those. They're
doing Bitter Root this week. So
yeah, that's one I never got. So that's one I'm going to be getting.
It's a fantastic book. I hear a lot of people talk about Supernatural. Imagine Supernatural set in the 20s, but about a black family in Harlem. Yeah. That's what it is. And it's so freaking good.
The Old Guard. I know I saw the Old Guards on there. That's one I didn't get as well. I want to kind of get that one.
The Old Guard has a new series coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the 3rd series is going to be the final one, I think. And I haven't watched that movie yet. I hear it's pretty good, though.
It's really good. It's really good. There's been stuff also from Image that I didn't get to read. I finally just got the last of the traded collection for Middle West. Just started reading it. I am having so much fun reading that story, man.
So
much fun. So
Scotty Young's best, man.
I fully missed out on it when it came out, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it right now. So
that's one of the first books I got when I was getting into books, man. And that was just one first indie books I picked up, because I was getting a lot of I was really only getting Marvels and DC stuff, and that just I fell in love. That's the reason I got Strange Academy. I was like, man, I gotta give Scotty Young a shot after what he did with Middle West, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Dreddy, thoughts on Terry Moore cereal? We were shorted at my shop the first week, which is devastating for us because Terry Moore is actually from my area, so we have a lot of fans of his work here, and we finally got him in the very next week, and I read it, and I love the artwork. I kind of like the story, but I'm really freaking confused.
Is it in black and white?
Yeah, it's in black and white. All of his stuff is pretty much in black and white, but he's been doing it on his own the entire time. Abstract Studios, and he's from my town, and we have a sketch of one of his characters from Strangers in Paradise at my shop, and it says, "Thanks for the support of your hometown boy," and we're really proud of that. But Cully Hamner's also from our town, and it's weird. We got some real comic book talent that came from my town. It's crazy.
That serial, that's about the girl. She's like been like the same age for like 40 or 50 years, possessed by a demon.
Is that what's going on? Because I didn't get that from the first issue. I'm confused as hell. As hell, bro. The first issue is set up like you think that she's going to be the victim of this serial killer. Then it turns out that she is the killer.
Yeah, she's like she's like possessed by a demon. She has been for like 40 years, and she's been that same age, and she's like a killer.
Right, none of that's in part one.
And now the demon is like out of her, and now she's like just going to kill for the hell of it. So,
all right, well, okay, let's do it. Another super chat. Thank you. Any of you ever make it out to California? Not me. Bob's from California.
Yeah, born and raised Venice Beach, and I lived most of my life there, and then also in the Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley area for about 10 years, and then moved up here to Oregon, and I go down there every once in a while. I do have a lot of family down there. We'll be making a trip down there this next year. I want to go when they open up Fat Man on Batman back up again. I want Kevin Smith to sign my poster, man. So I'm going to make a trip down there for that.
I got a Kevin Smith signed poster. It's hanging up over there, but you can't really see it. But it's Clerk's poster signed by Kevin Smith.
Nice.
Yeah, I had my buddies got that for me for my birthday in like 1999. When you could just buy on his website signed shit all the time. Anyway, that's the show for tonight. Join us in just 50 minutes over at Dylan's Horror or over at Dylan's Comics for Dylan's Horror Show. Tonight we're talking about Stuart Gordon. And I'm very excited, Dylan. Are you? Are you excited, Dylan?
Thank you.
All right, join us on Dylan's Comics for Robbie's Horror Show in just 50 minutes, everybody. Bueller, final thoughts.
This is awesome. Getting together with you guys talking about comic books. It's been too long. We skipped the last month, so this is like 2 months in the works, and hopefully next month we get back to a regular schedule and stuff. But this is the best monthly review show on YouTube. So anyone who says anything differently, that's too bad. You guys are wrong.
Go eat a chalupa.
Go eat a chalupa. Hey, there we go.
It looks like a rubber pancake.
Bullseye Bob, final thoughts.
I'm just glad to be doing a video right now. It's been a little bit here, but always great to be on with you guys. I'm just kind of blown away over the last year, the year that we had in comics, and I'm really hoping that this next year, ferrets out the same. And so I'm kind of excited about that. And hey, super chat, thank you. But bottom line, it's just great to hang out with you guys. And so again, whenever you have it, hopefully this next month, maybe I'll host it if I can. If not, Bueller will host it. And we'll go from there. But it's always good to hang with you guys.
Absolutely. Dylan, final thoughts?
Just glad to be here with Bueller and Bob, man. It was good to see you guys. It's been a while. So
hey, Dylan.
Hey, Bueller. Yeah, man, I absolutely always look forward to this, man. So I'm glad. I got nervous. That's why I was saying. I got nervous. I was like, we still doing this, right? So I look forward to next month, man. And then that's a good show to start 2020. So
absolutely, you know, and this kind of marks our year-long journey into doing this. Now we haven't done 12 episodes because of the shutdown and everything, but we've been doing it for a year. So if you guys want us to keep doing it, it seems like you do, because now we got chalupas for everybody. Thank you for the super chats. And my final thought is Station, and we didn't do a single Joker video. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, so y'all have at it. We'll be at Dylan's Comics in just a little bit. Man, I'm tired. All right, screw it. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Madman. He was created by Mike Allred some time ago, but you don't understand.